What's up, everybody? This is Brian here. We're going to be doing part 5 of my top 100 songs countdown. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off at number 44, actually. Um, if you're interested in the first couple of parts, they're on a playlist, and I think I put it on the front of my channel. If not, then you know where the playlist button is. Anyways, next entry on here is going to be Ernest Tubb with Driving Nails in My Coffin. This is a really fun song. If you like the Hank Williams song, I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive, then I think that you'll like this one. This is a little less famous than that, but as is Ernest Tubb, then probably Hank Williams. But I think that still he's one of the best artists and voices in early country. And he's also just a pioneer. Number 45 on here is going to be Golden Earring with Twilight Zone. For the first couple of years of my life as a kid, I actually, due to a wrongly labeled CD, actually thought this was a song called Bullet Hits the Bone by Blue Oyster Cult. And I never had heard of Golden Earring till I actually looked the song up. And I found what it was actually called. And I'm happy I know now because I can find it when I want to. And even though it's simple. I think it doesn't even have drums in it. It has like a drum machine, I'm pretty sure. And the lyrics are nothing special, but it carries with it just this awesome headbanging beat. And this is one of those songs that you can really rock out to. Number 46 on here is going to be a song by the Cranberries, and it's going to be Zombie. I think that this is one of the most tragic and emotionally shaking songs in all of alt rock and all of early 90s music in general. Uh, Rest in peace to Dolores O'Riordan. I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name at all. But yeah, this is a song about like the wars on the streets of Ireland, and I think that it really puts that feeling of the loss of an innocent person from conflict in a perspective, and it really hits home. It really hits home to feel that from the really amazing vocals and the video too. Just I think the video plays an incredible part in this song in terms of being very shaking. Number 47 on here is going to be a tie, and it's going to be from Graham Nash. It's going to Be Yourself, tied with Better Days. Um, Again, we have kind of a pair of songs here on my favorites list that are a little bit antonyms of each other in terms of their mood. Be Yourself is a positive, upbeat song, whereas I've had Better Days. Um, I think that obviously that speaks for itself. You've had better days versus you're being yourself and you're upbeat and you're happy. Those it covers the full range of emotions, and I think that Graham Nash is a great songwriter. He was one of the foundational members of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Without him, I don't think that they could have had that band in spite of the talent of all those other men. And they were all amazing. I love Neil Young. He's on here too. Um, but Graham Nash, I think, was probably the key to that band. Um, Anyways, let's get to number 48 on here, which is going to be Creation and Destruction by Immortal Technique. This is a rap song, like a battle rap style song, kind of from the early 2000s. I think it's from his first album, Revolutionary Volume 1. Um, this song, it really, it's almost like they took a tape of his battle rap, almost like an excerpt from one of his battle raps with someone like Diabolic or something, who's one of his friends from that industry, just to be noted. And it's almost like they turned that into a song. The song's edits are a little bit rough, uh, sometimes it's jarring, the transition from one line to the next, because it's clear where they edited something else out. But there's also some really brilliant lines in here, and some that'll make you laugh just from the absurdity of things like, I'll take your aborted baby and kill it again, or I'll drown you in a clogged public toilet. Those are lines straight from the song. Immortal Technique is a genius, I think, in his own way. Wish he'd make some more albums. This is one of my favorite songs, but I think that he should come back to work more regularly. It's been a while since we've heard from him album wise, a couple of years. Um, Number 49 on here is going to be a song from one of my favorite like modern like alt country artists, Justin Townes Earl with Bad Gasoline. This is actually a live version. Um, you can tell by the blue curtain behind him and that asshole heckling him at the beginning of the video. There's a really, really awesome take of this that you can find on YouTube. Um, I think this is, again, like a cover of a standard, but I think that Bad Gasoline is it's one of the most probably emotionally played blues songs that I've seen from probably the 2000s and on. I think most of the music now is kind of pop oriented, and there's not a whole lot of feeling in there. It's almost like something that we've lost in the music world is emotion and uniqueness uh, into the playing. Very often it's just pop oriented nightclub music stuff for people who are trying to look for an escapism to like drink to. For people who actually want to experience the music like me, that's a sad fact because it represents a loss. Let's go on to number 50 on here, um, which is What It's Like by Everlast. I can actually play this song. This song is actually really, really uh, the fact that it portrays kind of a poor person's life, and it portrays some of the sadness and poverty and in just living in a lower world like a trailer park, for example, or like a studio apartment complex, homeless shelter, those types of places. Um, it portrays the emotional range of living in that kind of world. And I think that Everlast really, really does a good job making the song unique. Like I haven't heard any other song that's that sounds like this. That sounds almost like it combines kind of rap almost with alternative rock, and it has a really, really cool riff. A good riff to begin on if you're like a beginner guitarist and you're just learning your chords. I would totally recommend that you start out with this song as one of your first ones, because it's just like three or four chords. Anyway, but yeah, What It's Like, it does a great job of living up to its name in terms of telling you what it's like to live in that world. Anyways, let's get on to number 51, which is a more upbeat song, I would say. It's going to be Elvis Presley singing One Night of Sin. This is not one of his most famous songs, but this is one of, I think, the most beautiful vocal performances that I've heard of Elvis's whole career. I think that I think that he carries on this kind of desire, this unmet desire, like an almost like an unrequited love, for one night of just letting loose. I think that it's out of love for somebody almost that he just wants one night to go wild with them. Anyways, but One Night of Sin, um, you know, it's really one of the you think of Elvis for his rhythms and being good to dance and party to and stuff like, but this is one of the most beautiful ballads that I think I've heard sung in Elvis's whole career. It's totally got to be up there with his best vocal performances, and it's very underrated. This wasn't a hit song at all, and it's kind of hard to find on YouTube, but you can find it. And if you have to stream it somewhere else or something like that, I would totally recommend going the extra mile. This is, if you're an Elvis fan, this is one of the most beautiful songs I think he did. Number 52 on here is going to be a song from the more like the grunge type days. It's going to be Self Esteem by The Offspring. This almost sounds like a song that Nirvana would do. In my opinion, this kind of carries with it the vibes of like "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Uh, but I think that you know the Offspring, they make this song unique by making it carry with it the messages and lessons that this person learns in becoming really codependent on their ex, to the point where they're like making excuses for them. They're taking, like when there's a conflict that they're talking to somebody else about their relationship, they'll take the blame for their partner instead of actually talking about what happened. If there was an argument where the opposing person cheated on them, they'll make excuses for them, basically. And this song, I think, if you really listen to the lyrics, it'll save you a lot of time in terms of emotional pain in relationships, in terms of becoming codependent on your exes and letting them back in your lives repeatedly, even if you know it's an unhealthy relationship. This song can really teach you something, which is cool, because most of the songs in the kind of grunge and alternative rock genre in general from this time period, they don't carry with them that depth and meaning. I don't think very few of them do, not to this level, of how to really, I think, maintain your self-esteem instead of letting somebody else become the master of it. It gives you pretty good advice, in my opinion. Number 53 on here is going to be a song by Green Day. I had a couple of Green Day songs that I wanted to put on here, but I ended up deciding on this one. It's going to be Time of Your Life. This was one of the first songs I learned to play on guitar. It's also like the last one that I was talking about on guitar wise. This is another song, kind of like that one by Everlast, that I would recommend that you start out with if you're just learning your chords. It has the basic like G's and D's and E's and stuff. Anyways, it's a good place to start if you're trying to look for one. Anyways, it's also a really really uh, beautiful song on acoustic guitar, and it's well sung. And I think that there's not a whole lot more to say about it. It's a pretty basic song, but yeah, I think it's one of the most beautiful acoustic guitar ballads from that time period. Um, Here, let's get on to the next part, which is going to be number 54. We're going to be taking a little bit of a harder turn from Time of Your Life by Green Day with Highway to Hell by AC/DC. Um, this is one of the most rockin' songs on all of classic rock radio, and you're sure to hear it on there because it's a staple. It's one of those songs, kind of like That Smell or Sweet Home Alabama, Stairway to Heaven. At least that they always played on classic rock radio when I was growing up. I don't know if you're getting like David Bowie and fucking Kanye West on your classic rock radio now, but anyways, this one is one of the most headbanging songs. Um, it's one of the ones, I think, with their original lead singer, and it shows you why people love him so much. Number 55 on here is going to be Andre Nicotina and San Quinn, a rap duo from the early 2000s, singing Ayo for Yayo. Uh, this song is completely like hardcore, and it shows life on the streets. It shows this girl who's only 14 when she's introduced to the streets, basically devolving into a crack whore, essentially. And there's not a whole lot more to say about it than that. But it really, really shows. It really, really shows kind of life in the ghetto and how people do what they have to survive. And it kind of puts you in those shoes if you've been unempathetic before in any way. It kind of puts you in those shoes. It kind of puts you in those shoes to see why people ended up where they did. Why people end up homeless, why people end up under a bridge. It's not always everybody's fault, and it just shows you. Not that I felt that way, because I used to be homeless, but it just shows you, if you did feel that way, you know, it's not always people's fault. Purely, sometimes circumstance drives people to do what they have to survive. Anyways, yeah, this is an awesome rap song. Number 56 on here is going to be from the 1970s, Jefferson Starship with Miracles. This whole album was fucking awesome, and I think that this is one of the best performances of Grace Slick's career. Um, this is probably going to be one of the last songs we'll cover in part 5, and we'll get on to the next part shortly. But yeah, this is one of the best performances of her whole career, I think, and it's also one of the probably the best performance from Starship, I would say. Jefferson Airplane has their own classics that are to be considered, but for Starship, I think that this is probably the best one and the best starting place. But this whole album kicks ass. Um, Number 57 on here is going to be stride pianist Art Tatum, one of probably like the equivalent of like Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan on here, on piano with Under a Blanket of Blue. And this song, there's no singing in it, but he sings through his fingers. You know, Art Tatum was a true virtuoso. He was probably the greatest pianist who ever lived. Um, I think that this song carries with it kind of a sad melody, under a blanket of blue, you know, under a deep depression or something like that. I think that Art Tatum really, I think he makes us feel the song a lot, considering there's no words in it. He really does put you under a blanket of blue through the notes and the melodies that he carries through his fingers. And there's very few people, as I've said a couple of times in this series, who can go that far with their music. There's very few musicians who really carry you to that level. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys because you. Peace out.